what's up YouTube? Welcome to JDM Right Hand Drive. In today's video, we're going to be working on the GTR, installing the new Ikeya Formula upper control arms into the front suspension wheels. And I went with these Ikeya Formula because they're basically like an OEM design, like the original Nissan ones. They've got the really strong structural centerpiece here, and it's basically welded together just like factory. You've got stronger stiffened bushings, so it's going to really hold the car good. So it should help soak and dampen up like harsh bumps and road vibration, and not allow that to come through the cabin of the car.
I don't have friends, I got family.
Really happy to do this Ikeya Formula control arm set, because when I search on YouTube for Ikeya Formula suspension parts or anything that's Ikeya Formula related, I can't really find much of anything on there. So I think this video should be helpful to the community, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And the cool thing with this is, in Japan, there's a 2-year service inspection order for your car to be road legal and certified to drive on the Japanese streets. And Ikeya Formula, all their products actually are in compliance with the Japanese roads, and so it can pass, I think it's called like a shotgun or whatever is what they call in Japan. So it meets all the OE standards, which is really cool. This is the instructions manual that comes with it. And these will fit all these different cars, so it'll fit basically all the R32 chassis line, as well as the CZ32 or Z32, which is the Fairlady Z300ZX. Instructions manual is completely in Japanese, so we won't be able to use these, but I'll just flip through the pages so you guys can at least see it. And so the ones I got are 5 millimeters shorter than OEM. It's got all the torque specs and everything, Newton meters of course, so kind of cool. And the reason I did the 5 millimeters shorter, I thought about just buying some OEM ones again, is the suspension compresses and it goes and changes directions. This will help keep the tire basically more straight, like that rear tire, to maintain better contact on the road. My car is not very aggressively lowered, so I didn't need like the 15 millimeters shorter. So this is the passenger side. I wanted to show you guys, there's a lot of movement in this. The reason why is this, I had this in a previous video, but I'll just go over it again. When I had the alignment done, they never tightened these Allen heads down here. And so this was basically just spinning around in here. And this bolt actually got pinched against the knuckle extender, and it was compromised. And I just think that this is kind of a sketchy design. And I actually can't get this bolt out because it's hitting against the fender liner. So we're going to go ahead and remove the coilovers, and that'll give us enough play to put this together and easily remove the old ones. Suspension 1, suspension 2, and now that this is out, we can basically just take our jack and lower it down a little bit. And I've got it supporting the front suspension just under the brake rotor. And by doing that, that's going to bring our suspension down. And now we can easily access this area to remove the nuts and bolts here and get that upper control arm out. So let's start on, I guess we'll go ahead and start on this side. Let's go ahead and break off these bolts off here. These are 17 mil. So we get these off each side, and we can pull this control arm out. Work these nuts out. The bolts come out super easy, supported by the jack underneath here. I'm going to go ahead and lower the jack down a little bit. I'm just going to tap this out of the knuckle extender with a hammer. There we go. And should just be able to wiggle this out. There we go. I've got everything out, and you can see that you can just tell for structural rigidity having this wider point versus this little skinny point being braced by these little clamps that hold the threading down. Like, it's just a sketchy design. This is going to be way stronger. It's OEM factory design. Let's go ahead and get these installed. These bushings look a little beefier, a little thicker in gauge, so they'll probably soak up the bumps in the road a little bit better. I'm sorry, I wanted to apologize. I had talked about meeting up with people local in the area. I was going to go to that import racing at Pacific Racing back on May 23rd on Sunday, and because of COVID I didn't make it, so I forgot to put that out on one of my videos to let you guys know. I just posted something on Instagram saying I wasn't going to make it, but I had somebody message me saying they're expecting to see my car there, and of course I did not show up, so sorry about that, guys. Let's get back to work. Let's throw this control arm in here. Alright, so when you guys attach this, make sure you attach it to the front knuckle extender first. That's because if you attach it to the back up here, you won't have enough room to get your bolt through. So I've got the front one in, and before I go ahead and tighten the suspension all the way down, I'm going to get the car set up under its own weight, because you can see once you do that those bushings are locked into position, and before I torque these down, I don't want the bearings to be seized up, so I'm putting stress on the bushings in the wrong direction after I lower the car down. So we're not going to tighten it when the wheel is in the up position. We're going to tighten it when it's all the way down so it's in its right position, and then we'll torque the nuts down here. And I'm going to jack the car, or jack the brake up kind of until I get this in the right area, and I can finesse it in from there. There we go. That hole's pretty much lined up. Let's go and put the bolt through the back. Guys, go ahead and make sure you disconnect the sway bar from the bottom of the knuckle extender. That's going to give you the most left and right manipulation to work the unit into position in order to get the long bolts to go through. But this is the driver's side. It's all buttoned up and done. They're actually really tight. In order to get it into position, I had to use a piece of wood with a jack and basically just put a little pressure on that so I could get the bolt through. Go ahead, say hi. Say hi, Blog.
Hi, Blog.
Well, Julie and I are out here in the garage, and I wanted to show you now that this is connected. You can see how it fits just like factory. Got the hardware and everything just lightly tightened down, so I can get it tightened here in a second under load. So the bushings are all lined up in the right position before they're torqued down. But I wanted to show you this thing, like I'm pulling on it hard, and it does not move at all. So this is perfectly stationary. It's going to keep the suspension geometry spot on when I'm on the track and driving around the road. I could just feel the car slightly wandering, and luckily Doug from Up Garage pointed that out to me, so thank you, Doug. As always, he gets me on the right tracks. A good spot for the old AMS ones in the bin, where they belong. Trash. To the torque settings, if you guys don't have a factory service manual, I'll have a link in the description down below. That's an 800-page factory service manual. If you don't have one, it makes your life a hell of a lot easier. Up Garage had my car. I was troubleshooting with Eric, Doug, and Matt, and all three of them went out and drove my car, and what we came up with is the idea that the springs, being that they're half the spring rate, the car initially lowered by about 14 millimeters, and I'd already raised it up, I think, plus 6 millimeters or 5 millimeters in the front from what it was. So I went up another 5 rotations, which is another 7.5 millimeters to compress the spring, and that's basically to help the stroke of the Öhlins dampers, since the spring settles more when the car is lowered because it's a lower spring rate. This will help counter that, giving the suspension a longer stroke, and it should help the handling dynamics and performance. So I spent a little bit of time on each side adjusting it, and we're almost finished up. We'll get out on the road. So what we did is we compressed the spring another 7 millimeters by going up 5 rotations, and then we lowered, so then we counterspun this to lower this down 7.5 millimeters, so it should balance out, give us a better stroke, longer stroke on the coilover, and keep the ride height the same. So with this suspension in, what we're gonna do is I've got my jack on the floor here, and we're just gonna put a little bit of preload on the suspension to kind of simulate it sitting on the ground under its own weight. And the reason we're doing that before finally tightening the suspension arms down is those bushings only have so much range of motion, and so by preloading it before tightening it will help preserve their life so they're not fully extended in one way. All right, these are under tension. Let's tighten them down. And I'm just going to mid torque on the factory service manual. And these are torqued at 72 foot-pounds. There we go. These are all done finally. Alright, so everything is fully installed. Should look something like this. You can see those bushings and everything, kind of how they look in there with everything tightened down. Hardware's all in the right direction. Suspension's in. Let's go take it out on the road, see if we can feel a difference. Okay, so this is the car sitting on the ground, and you can see my ride height is pretty much perfect with adjusting the springs. I've got basically 2 fingers is where I had it before. But as far as the wheel angle, you can see that the with the -5 millimeters, it's actually pretty aggressive. I don't know exactly what the angle at that is, but it's definitely way more slanted than the rear tires. Those are like straight up and down. This will probably help my handling, but it's definitely going to give me more tire wear. So if you guys are running the same ride height as me, you may be better off with the factory arms. They're gonna probably keep this out a little bit more angled, I would think, or straight. I wanted to kind of show you guys the angle of what it's sitting at. So the arm is at that angle once the car is sitting on the ground. So initially my thoughts are the suspension feels smoother and softer. I'm not sure if it's the control arms or the fact that I compressed the spring more, so I've got more stroke on my suspension, but it feels really soft and really smooth. The steering wheel is dead straight. I'm still going to take it in to get the alignment done, but it feels like it's where it needs to be. The tension rods never were adjusted. It was just the old control arms are out of whack, so it should still be pretty even. But let's get up here a little bit farther. I'll show you guys some twists and twisties and some corners and stuff and see how it feels. But yeah, I would say these definitely fixed my steering. It feels precise. It doesn't have that wander or like wobbly, sketchy feel. And my turn-in feels crisper because I don't have any more play in the suspension, so I'm getting a better turn-in than before. The whole purpose of this car, the reason I'm building this, is to be a track circuit car, so I want the handling to be perfect. That's why I've been spending so much time on the suspension tuning and trying to get everything dialed, because I want to hit the track this summer. So this will be the last little bit of road. I'm going to do a run up this windy hill, and I'll see you guys back at home. I'm learning how the car feels. Yeah, the turn-in is completely different. I'm gonna have to kind of play with the car some more. Yeah, it feels so much better. That corner was crazy. I can really feel the connection to the front and rear. So yeah, I'd say that was definitely worth the extra money and the time. Car feels great. Well guys, we are back home in the garage and I've got the GTR ready. It's basically my next project is going to be installing the Nismo oil separator. So I've got it up on ramp so I can get underneath and pull the front pipe out and get in there and get to the oil drain line and get everything plumbed in there. So GoPro set up here like that, and then I've got my Hero 9. It's got better footage, so I usually set that up inside the car because it gives you guys a better forward perspective out of the windshield. And I'm using the longer arm because the longer arm allows you to see past the rearview mirror and actually see the road. Got y'all done out here for the day. I'm gonna go ahead and get all my tools and everything cleaned up and get my jack stands and everything put away, and go in and take a shower, get some rest, and get ready to wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and get my ass out here in the garage and get to work. Because I've been trying to get this done for like 7, 8 months. It's been a long time coming. I'm definitely very happy with the Ikea Formula control arms. Sorry when I talk, it makes me want to cough getting over the stupid COVID virus. But yeah, the changes the way the car handles, so definitely a big plus with those. Couldn't be happier with them. I think even with the more aggressive angle, most of the old GTR cars, R32s that you see back in the 90s, anyway, like the HKS and the Calsonic, they all had like crazy angles on their tires to get better handling on the track. So I think it'd be worth the extra toe wear to get that toe and that camber to get better handling. So anyway guys, if you liked this video today, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned in. I'll see you guys on the next video, which will be the Nismo oil separator. So we're gonna get this all installed. So I'll see you guys in. Peace.